Let's unbox the Funko Pop Vinyl Duel of the Fates collection. Villa Varykino. If it's Star Wars, we collect it. Hello there. Thanks for visiting Villa Varykino. Last night, my family and I saw The Phantom Menace again on the big screen as part of the theatrical re-release celebrating the film's 25th anniversary. So today, I'm carrying on the Phantom Menace fun and taking a closer look and unboxing some Phantom Menace collectibles that I've had stored away for a little while. As you can see, it is the Funko Pop Vinyl Duel of the Fates set of 3 deluxe figures. So I really like the packaging for these, but as you can kind of tell, there is a lot of plastic covering the figures up. And they all fit together to create a scene. So I think now is the perfect time to get these ones out of their boxes and fit them all together and take a closer look at the fully built scene, because I think they're going to look so cool, even though they look pretty shiny and special in their deluxe boxes with their special edition stickers. So I'm really excited to finally get them out, and today is the perfect day to do that. So let's take a quick look at the boxes here. We've got the larger size deluxe cardboard boxes. These are a little bit more sturdier than the standard Funko packaging. We've got Duel of the Fates and then the character name for each one. I think it was kind of interesting they released in sequence. Maul was first, number 506, Obi-Wan Kenobi 507, and Qui-Gon Jinn 508. Everything looks pretty much the same. We've got the special edition sticker here. We've got the same Star Wars logos. When I got them all lined up, I noticed that the gold yellow color of the Qui-Gon box is just a little bit darker than the color used on the first 2. So that might just be the printing on my particular box, or perhaps it was slightly adjusted after they released this one before this one. But yeah, I just thought that was an interesting little note. The Darth Maul, I think, looks the best in the packaging. He has a very sort of close overlaying plastic, so it's not too distorted. Obi-Wan here has a large bubble extending in front of his saber, and then Qui-Gon has a very large bubble around his saber, which is kind of distorting his face. So I feel like these are going to look so much better when I get them out of the packaging. I really like the back of the boxes. This red and gold really harks back to that original branding for the Phantom Menace memorabilia from 1999. We have a promotional image here for each of the characters on the back of their respective boxes, and because they were released in sequence, they had sort of an interesting trick of sort of revealing the characters as they came out. So we could see we had Darth Maul, 2 were blacked out. Now we have Darth Maul and Obi-Wan with the 3rd blacked out, and by the time we got to Qui-Gon, we have all 3 pictured. It was kind of a funny technique. It's not like we weren't be able to tell which of the characters would be in Duel of the Fates with Darth Maul. We can clearly see this is going to be Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon. So it's kind of funny that they kind of kept them secret, but nevertheless they decided to do that as they released each one. Just kind of funny, and obviously we have all 3 out now, so let's open them up. I am so happy I finally got this one out of the box. I think it looks absolutely amazing. We've got this black base with the Star Wars logo here on the front, and we've got a white pattern here on the top of the base. We can see it has a bit of a pizza slice wedge shape to fit the Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon figures next to him. We've got this interesting purple panel behind him. It's made out of a translucent plastic. We can also see it's curved there, but the front of it has a sort of a frosted painted like surface to it, and it's got a sort of a rippled texture that is part of the sculpting there, which was a little bit hard to see all the way in the back of the box there. And of course, Darth Maul himself is just fantastic. In the packaging, he was sort of side on like that, so we could see the little stud earring there on his ear, and he looks a little bit plainer from the side because he has so much black going on. When we turn him around, we can really get a sense of his face. I think this is really cool with that sort of menacing yellow eyes. We can get a better sense of all of his Sith tattoos going on here with his horns. And of course, he's got that awesome double-bladed lightsaber. I can see Ray Park as Darth Maul doing this move in my head from the film. That's so cool. So of course, the lightsaber's got just a little bit of an upward bend here, but it's not too much that it's really throwing me off. I like the movement in his robes here, sort of flowing as he's spinning around. I think this is really quite cool. Nothing is jumping out at me as a major paint flaw. He was behind all that plastic and turned to the side, so I couldn't really see his face well. So now that I've got him out of the box, that all looks really nice and tidy. No sort of glue splodges around his horns. In the back here, pretty clean there as well. No glue splodging around his boots there, attaching him to the base. He is fixed on. He's not coming off the base. I love how bobbly his head is. This is really quite fun. I just think this looks really cool. I think the plastic was really hiding him. This is definitely one of the better deluxe Funko Pop vinyl Star Wars figures. Some of them come in deluxe boxes and they don't really come with too much else. I think this display piece really does add to the figure itself. Oh, and now I've got to get Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon out, don't I? Next up, we have Obi-Wan Kenobi, and like Maul, he is posed very much facing to the side, just this time in the opposite direction. So let's take a look at all of his details. He has a very similar shaped pizza wedge black and white base. This one is a bit smaller. Darth Maul's, because he's got the double-bladed lightsaber, it's got a much wider base, but we still have that raised Star Wars logo there, white details, and we have the purple translucent back. This one is fully translucent and it is smooth. There is no sculpting and we don't have that sort of frosting there on the top. It might pick up on camera. There is a kind of a bit of a smudge that I think is maybe like a little bit of glue. It's not really, you can kind of see it there. It's not quite a fingerprint, but it's a little bit of a smudge. I don't see it too bad from the front. So it's kind of going to hide there in the back. We can also see Obi-Wan's saber is just a little bit hanging down here. Maybe if I can pose this close to Darth Maul's, it will look like it's kind of being pressed down or something like that. We'll check that out soon. One thing that I'm really appreciating about the deluxe figures is just the very different posing that we can do here. Obviously, Funko has decided to go with a much more sort of action stance for this scene, as is fitting for the Duel of the Fates, very high energy action scene. I really like the way that Obi-Wan has his foot extended here, resting on the toes at the back, like he is leaping forward. I really like how prominent his Padawan braid is here with the little lines of the sort of different color bands there. We've got sort of a orange and a red there. We've got just a few minor paint flaws which we couldn't see through the plastic. There is a little bit of sort of very, very faint lines on his face and, you know, this kind of typical, a little bit of overspill and not quite aligning at the hairline there. It's nothing too major, no splotches or anything straight on his face. He has a fairly kind of plain face, as generally just human characters do. There's not too much else. I really like his really sort of spiked up hair. There's a lot of texture, and of course he's got his little ponytail here in the back. I think that's really quite cool. All of the details on the belt look really nice. Phantom Menace had some very specifically sort of sculpted pouches on Qui-Gon's and Obi-Wan's belts. We've got the little food capsules there, accented in gold, and here again. All of the details on his lightsaber. You might be able to see when the red button has been painted. A tiny bit of red paint has also gotten on his hand there, but I only really notice that when I'm looking at it close up. We can even see some of that detail there on his belt when looking from the other side. I think the colors on this one are great. The details, the pose. Again, we've got the robes kind of swishing like he is in movement, and the bobble of the head definitely really adds to the movement as well. This one's a really, really cool one. This is exciting. Now let's get Qui-Gon out. Last but certainly not least, we have Qui-Gon Jinn. And of course he is facing the opposite way. I really can't wait to get them all together. So let's take a closer look. We've got, again, the same black and white sliced wedge base there with the Star Wars logo raised there on the front. I think that looks really cool. And now we can get a better look at his face. I really like looking front on. We've got this really cool sort of swish motion of his hair coming around the side. Of course, Qui-Gon has his iconic long hair Jedi hairstyle. Overall, pretty clean face. We've got a little bit of sort of overspill at the hairline and a little bit here at his beard where the skin color has gone a little bit further than the line of his hair and beard, but nothing too messy that's really distracting me. He's got a much straighter saber compared to Obi-Wan. And I've got to say, this one, there is a little bit of a paint difference between the top of his robes and the bottom. There's just, these ones look a little bit more, I'm not sure why it's a little bit more yellow in tone. I think it shows up on camera. It's just a little bit more of a color difference. But if he's posed side on, his hair is kind of covering that. I'm not going to see that much when it's on display, but that's a little bit of an interesting thing. This looks painted, and this I think is potentially made out of this color plastic because the hands are painted. I can see just a little bit of where the hand sort of skin color has gone onto the lightsaber here. So Kind of wish this was made out of the same plastic so it matched up perfectly in color tone, but that's just kind of interesting. And there. So he doesn't have much on this side of his belt. We can see where the paint from the bottom half of his tunic is kind of coming in really close to the details on his belt. Some nice sculpting there. If we look through this side, we've got some silver food capsule details here on his belt, and we can see we've also got that cool swishing lower robe action going on here. His lightsaber is mostly hidden in his hands. We kind of see it here from the top. We've got a red button, black and silver details there. This looks pretty cool. And of course, he also has a translucent purple background piece. You can kind of see it from the back, but it's a little bit more evident from the front if I tip it to the side. So the glue, it looks like it is kind of frosted here. It's particularly noticeable in this corner, which I think is a little bit of a shame because you've got really no room for error when something is see-through. You can see the glue kind of frosting this corner. It's a little bit on this one, mostly there. I'm hoping that just the coolness of the Duel of the Fates means that that background detail is going to disappear. Might be a little bit better once I've got this on a bookshelf and it just kind of fades against the background. But overall, I love his pose. I think his expression is super cute. Now let's get all three together. I finally have the Phantom Menace Funko Pop vinyl Duel of the Fates scene together, and this is just absolutely awesome. I love it. The black base fits really nicely together. Even though we don't have any pegs, we just have this sort of flat surface here, they fit really nice and clean together. And of course, because of the striped pattern on the surface here, that line fits perfectly in the design. We have the Star Wars logo repeated on each slice, which may stand out, but because it is black on black, it doesn't look too weird that the logo is repeated 3 times. The purple backdrop lines up pretty well on mine, especially between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul. For the Qui-Gon section, unfortunately, it seems to be just a tiny bit misaligned, so by the time we get to the top, it is leaning forward. So I do kind of notice that at times, but I think because the main focus is, of course, the characters, I'm probably going to forget that over time, especially once I get it on display. I absolutely love the action here. Of course, for Duel of the Fates, that high energy, iconic lightsaber battle, you're gonna have to capture some of that movement here with the sculpting, and Funko's done a really good job. I love the way Qui-Gon is sort of swooshing around here with his hair and his robes. His lightsaber is almost clashing here with Darth Maul's. I love how close that is. And of course you can see the Obi-Wan and Darth Maul with the almost butting heads with how close they are. And again, their lightsabers are almost touching here as well. I love the movement here with Obi-Wan looking like he's striking forward with that back foot, and Darth Maul looks like he is spinning with those robes. I can picture the action scene in my mind because of course there is just such that high energy movement, the fast-paced lightsabers. I just love the details here. This looks so cool. It is a little bit different because Darth Maul's head is kind of turned to the side, so we do get a little bit more of the back of his head in this particular pose, but I think it kind of works because he is focused here on Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon's here sort of at the back. I think it would look odd if Darth Maul was just looking straight forward with Jedi either side. Of course, he's going to have to face one of them, so I think that all sort of works overall. And if I sort of rotate them around a little bit, we can kind of see how they look from different angles. You can see Qui-Gon sort of poking out here at the back, looking kind of cute there. We can see just how sort of close these ones are coming here in the front. This just looks absolutely amazing. I love it. And it's kind of fun when you get them all bobbling. It's sort of like they're in the middle of a fight. This just looks so cool. What a way to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the Phantom Menace with such an iconic scene. I really do need to add more Phantom Menace Funkos to my collection. I know there is that new set that is coming out for the 25th anniversary. Sadly for us here in New Zealand, it hasn't arrived yet. I was really hoping. I've seen some pictures of them overseas, so fingers crossed they're not too far off because I definitely need all of those new Funkos. So fun to see the Phantom Menace just getting some love on its 25th anniversary, and this is just absolutely iconic. Duel of the Fates is just up there as a lot of fans' all-time favorite lightsaber scene. It was just so fast-paced, and just I love the way these lightsabers are so close. I was not expecting to, when I got it all together, that the characters would actually be as close as they are. I thought because they were sort of all in 3 segments, they would all sort of be in their own little blocks, kind of looking like they're vaguely in the same space, but they really are quite close together, which I think is just fantastic. I love how close the sabers are. They look like they're touching, which I think is just such a great touch there. Overall, I absolutely love this set. I thought they looked pretty cool in their boxes, but honestly, this is even cooler. I know if you keep things in their box, the little tiny flaws and sort of paint splodges and things like that kind of get lost a little bit in the background. They're hidden under the plastic of the windows and packaging, so you do see some of the flaws a little bit clearer once you get them out and on display. But because this, just how well it all fits together, I think this one is definitely a set that I would recommend getting out and assembling all together. This just looks awesome. I gotta add this one to my Funko display straight away. What a great way to celebrate the Phantom Menace. So thank you so much for hanging out with me today as I opened up another Star Wars collectible and just had fun. I hope you have a wonderful morning, afternoon, or evening wherever you are in the galaxy, and let's hang out again soon. May the Force be with you. If you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a like, check out our other videos, and subscribe for alerts about new uploads. Thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.